Welcome back to the channel. All right, that is right. Relics are coming, or new relics are finally coming to the game. And I'm just gonna say this right now. Yes, this does look very, very cool. I think it's gonna be big for all of us summoners. A lot of the pain points we have gone through now, there is a whole new dev diary Statcast. And I will link that in the description because I'm not gonna read it to you. I don't think that's a very good video, but we are gonna go over the highlights of it. And then I'm gonna give you my analysis, right? Myself, the Spreadsheet Wizards, and the Illuminati have been doing the best Relics tier list for quite a while. It's been improved more and more and more. Answer the questions you actually ask. And of course, when all these new relics come into the game, we will analyze them and get them on that tier list for you as well. And basically what happens is there's two different types of relics. There's relics we have in the game right now that are called battle casts, okay? And this will make sense as we go through. And these new ones, they're green. They do look really cool. They're called Statcasts. And if you think that, you get that in mind, you'll understand very quickly what's going to be happening here. These battle casts, and that's what Kabam initially did, you can see in their post, is when there are a few different things, goals they had, like collectible, scalable, theorycrafting, meaningful choices. And as they go through, they're kind of saying, like, why didn't they work? And one, they're a little too complex and they're a little too flexible, meaning like Kabam had to put a ton of time into designing and making them. And they still led or ended up with a couple situations. And we've shown this in the tier list. We go over this. We're like, the Gambit Relic, like, don't rank it. It's not worth actually ranking. It's incredibly powerful, right? Venom has like transformed the Venom character. He's always been good, but now he is like bonkers because those flat bleed increases, things like that. And then I've shown this multiple times. Guardian with the Hulkbuster Relic is like, depending on how you look at it, one of the best champions in the game, always very, very good, but just kind of broken in these certain scenarios. And so Battlecast kind of opened up this, let's just call it a Pandora's box sort of scenario when designing champions, things like that. It can get a little bit complex, right? And this isn't the time to crap on Kabam. Like, they obviously do their testing and things like that. And sometimes there's just so many interactions and abilities might be beyond what they had intended and they can control. And so they learned their lesson, right? They learned their lesson saying strikers are good, complexity bad. And now they want to be like kind of cautious on this, right? They said the relics had the potential to blow up the game. And honestly, Venom, Guardian, those sorts of things, I see it. I love it. We've reported on that. And that's going to be part of my analysis is have fun with your Venoms and your Guardians, right? Because the Battlecast relics only available up to 6-star variety. They're not saying that they're going to do 7-star, while the Statcasts, these new ones, these green ones, are going to come out as 7 stars right away, it sounds like. So that's going to be a big deal. Now, what are they actually going to do? They're going to have the Striker still. Awesome, right? Help us with those combos, help us get those openings. There's the Striker stun, which isn't actually a stun in the game, that sort of thing. And then they're gonna have this primary attribute. You see each Statcast will have a stat that is boosted by a large amount, right? So essentially what they're doing is, it feels very similar to me to the stat focus on the 7 stars. A lot of people I see sometimes, I haven't even spec'd into those, but like you can increase your crit rating, your critical damage rating, your special damage rating, those sorts of things. These can be incredibly, incredibly helpful to you. Like champions who like need a little bit more crit, you do the crit damage. Champions who get big benefits for crit damage rating, do that. I cover that in my new champion videos. I know a lot of you really appreciate that and benefit from it. And then there's going to be a secondary attribute where you're going to get a smaller amount, right? So you're going to be able to pick, let's say the 7-star Hulkling one day comes. Let's do that. I would love that little dream of mine. And you could pick, like, he doesn't have a very strong crit rate, right? Like he feels very much like, hey, you got these big furies you're going to hit, you can spec into the crit rate. And then there's going to be a second attribute here, and you could go in maybe like if there's going to be a block penetration. I don't know if they'll do that like the Pierce, but still that could be really, really nice because you're hitting into the block. There's going to be singular runes, right? We do this in the Battlecast relics where there's like 3 runes and we talk about here's the best ones to go into and those sorts of things. Well, this is going to be simplified. So just think of this as like very simplified. You're enhancing your champions, but they're still going to work and they're still going to have the Striker, and there's going to be a ton of them, right? They say, what does this mean for the future of Battlecast? So it's just the older style, the blue style. Never say never. We won't say they will never make another one, but for right now, they don't have any plans. That's really smart of them. Like me and my legal background, I would say never box yourself in. So they're saying maybe we'll make one in the future, but realistically, they're never going to make any more. And again, this will go to my kind of analysis and my initial advice on these. And they're just saying what were some of the challenges, what can players expect? This is apparently going to come into the build in August. So August is like jam-packed full of things. But these new Statcast green relics will come to the game in August. I'm very pumped up to cover it. And like I said, we will implement those into the tier list ASAP for you as we do our testing, those sorts of things. And then when consumers get them, sounds like there's going to be an initial alliance event. We covered that in my stream synopsis. In fact, I will link that in the description of this video because there was a ton of information in this month's stream. July is going to be full, but August is a bonkers full-time full-time fun, hopefully too. Can I use my existing relics? So this is the stinky part. This is the stinky part, kind of like, Kabam, I don't really like this. I get it, but I don't like it. So all of your shards you have saved up for your battle cast, really the blue ones, you're not going to be able to use to open up for your green Statcast. And they do say that like there's a variety of things. Essentially, I think in essence, this would give your whales a massive, massive advantage, which we obviously get in this game already. And so as a result, there's going to be a whole new set of shards and crystals open to get your Statcast green relics. But the good news is that if you've got a lot of your embers and your rank up and your alloys and those sorts of things, you're going to be able to use them for your Statcast or your Battlecast. Those are transferable, same rank up resources for both of them. So I think that's a big win. I'm happy about that. And the YouTuber who cares about the game and the experience of a variety of players is happy that we're all going to kind of start from the same place as far as collecting these new relics. 7-star relics. Statcast will be available at 5 to 7-star rarities. So that's really cool. I imagine they'll be more powerful, but also good that they can already come out as 7-star, seeing as we have 7-star champions. And that's one of the ways Kabam does progress the game, hopefully not for years and years and years. But I think we all know if the game is around, 8-star champions will eventually be coming, hopefully in 3 to 8 years. Probably more like 3, but anyways, that's for another video. And how many Statcast relics are we now talking about? They're going to slate a whopping 60. This is a ton. Now they're going to be more simple, so it'll be more easy for us to analyze and get that information out, and for you to know, oh, I want to put this on my my serpent or what have you, whatever champion, photon, whatever champion you love playing. I think it'll be a little more clear who you and what you want to put them on. But again, we will implement them into the tier list for you. And then as a reminder, each stat relic will have a primary attribute and a secondary. So there will be 2 primary attribute relics per class, resulting in 12 unique statues, right? And each of them will have 5 possible secondaries. It's getting a little complex, but I think that's one of those things, once we see it, we'll know how to do it. So the analysis for me is, one, overall extremely good, right? We no longer need to go into the quest, make sure I didn't have a relic on this champion or whatever, and now we're just going to have them. We can put them on when those nodes say you need to use the striker to get the protection off, whatever. You can just do it. It's not like I got into the quest and I forgot. It's so annoying, so frustrating. When you do your battlegrounds deck, you don't need to worry if you've got your best relic on this champion, whatever. You can just do your battlegrounds deck, and then later, if you realize you don't have the optimal setup, you can change it. But at least you've got the striker. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing, and it's immediate for me, and when they've been talking about these green relics of Statcast, I was like, okay, so I've been formulating this for a concept for a bit here, is what this will do for me is even more prioritize a higher emphasis on those battle cast relics, the blue ones, being as optimized as possible for your roster, right? Now we go over that on the tier list. It's all the information. I'm not just trying to get a view. What I'm saying is if you've got a Guardian or a Red Skull, and you can put the Hulkbuster Battlecast relic on them, do it. That is incredibly important. There are going to be champions like that, or like Prowler with the Sentinel relic, where you can get the pause on the Incinerate. And this sort of thing, it doesn't like necessarily make them the best champion in the game from being the worst champion in the game. What it does is it takes very good champions and it increases their abilities, their power, their loop, their damage, whatever it is you're trying to do, and it increases it to like an exponential amount or a tremendous amount. We go over this again in the tier list. And then your champions that don't benefit as specifically, like Null would be one where I'm like, he doesn't have a relic that's just like amazing for him. But Null is amazing. I would put one of these green Statcasts on him, emphasize his stats, whatever it is really meaningful, and then save your Venom relics for your Venoms and your Screams and champions like that. I hope that makes a lot of sense. Essentially, what this has done for me is I'm very happy about relics in general. I'm happy that they're making new ones. These Statcasts sound great, especially since they come with strikers. But what it's also done for me is I kind of see these as two classes, both of them extremely valuable, but my Battlecast relics become even more valuable for me, and I'm gonna want to put them on my favorite champions and the ones that they enhance the most, because I will get such a massive benefit, and some of them are literally like transformative for the champions in cases like Venom and Guardian. And then I will use my green Statcast relics to kind of more fill in the gaps and to make sure that I always have a relic attached to my champion when I go in. As usual, let me know what you think you got right. Let me know what you think I got wrong. And you can bet for sure I will be updating all of this as we go along, because I do think this is a very exciting development in the game. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.